70 million Americans have a criminal record. Convicted felons face difficulty finding employment even after they serve their time. Once a felon has completed their sentence and paid all the fines, they may be able to vote in some states. In some states, they still can't vote.
Is the first time I went to prison, I went in 1980, and the last time I got out was 2003. And that's a little bit about my felon side.
When you were released from prison, did you have help from someone or did you have to find resources to get back on your feet?
I didn't use the resources, but they give you resources to use. I didn't have to.
When felons first leave prison, they lose their rights to vote. It is difficult for them to find employment. Some rights are lost forever. They can regain their rights. Between 60 and 75% of ex-felons have remained unemployed. When you were released, were you on anything such as supervision, parole, or probation?
When you're released from prison, you're on parole first, and that's usually like anywhere from 3 months to 6 months, and then you're on probation after.
How long did it take you to find a job?
30 days.
What kind of obstacles did you turn into trying to find a job as a felon?
What kind of obstacles?
Yeah,
Well, if you've got a felony that's 15 years old, it still comes up on your record, and it shouldn't. So that's a really bad obstacle. You know what I mean? People who've had them 20, 25 years ago, you can't even get a job. Like Walmart, for instance. I put in at Walmart. I went through the first interview, the second interview, the third interview. They hired me, and then they had me sign something saying, "Have you ever been convicted of a felony?" I thought they only went back 5 years. So they didn't call me back or nothing after they had already hired me. You know what I mean? It doesn't never come off, and they should come off after maybe 10 years.
This graph shows that some states have felons that lose voting rights permanently, or it's restored after prison, parole, or probation. Some felons may vote from prison.
Okay,
What was the law on voting as a felon?
what's the law? You have to wait 5 years after being released.
Do you feel like you are treated fairly as a felon compared to other people?
Hell no.
Explain why.
Explain why? Because when it's on your record, people, okay, say for instance, if you look at my record is long, but that's not the person that you are. You know what is on paper makes you seem like you're really bad, but it's not how it's perceived. You know what I mean? It's like people think because you did checks that you're really bad if you've got so many convictions, but it's considered a white collar crime, I think. You know, they just perceive, people look at you different when you're a felon than if you're not.
What is one thing you wish you could change in the world to better life for felons?
Have felonies taken off after a certain amount of time if you haven't been in trouble?
What is the hardest part in your life now as a felon?
The hardest part? I don't really have a hardest part. You know, because mine are so old and I haven't had a relapse, so I'm not going back. So I don't think. I feel bad for people who just have gotten out because, you try to find a job, and they're not going to get a job, especially if you can't do a background check, then you're good. If you really want to go straight. But then there's other ones who just want a job for a little while, and then they fall right back into it. Do you know what I mean?
In Florida, 10% of the population has had their right to vote taken away. That's 1.7 million people who can't vote because they have a felony conviction. Cedric Austin is one of them.
No matter how much you change, no matter how much you do in the community, I can't vote.